says the live video
Tell
is
Staffing
ended.
and HR, in conjunction with PatriotTV.live, bring you Play Harder Radio, the premier patriotic sports and BS talk show from America's Gulf Coast. Things that matter in the world of sports and things that don't matter to anyone. It's just Faja's opinion. Where the F-bomb is allowed, but frowned upon. This is Play Harder Radio. And now, your host, James Grant.
All right. Welcome to our first night on PatriotTV.live. We are also on Facebook Live and also on YouTube Live, as usual. Todd, can you check the Facebook Live feed, please? My guest tonight, Frenchy LaFountain. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
Glad to have you here. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Talking about United States Marine Corps retired.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Appreciate your service.
Well, I think they appreciated it too. Matter of fact, they used to remind me all the time that I didn't have to get thanked. I got thanked every 2 weeks, whether I deserved it or not. It's called a paycheck.
And it was a hefty paycheck at that, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just a few things. We are on PatriotTV.live. This is the debut day for PatriotTV.live. Thanks to Beardo, beardvet.com. You need to go there and buy some of their coffee. You'll find our t-shirts there, hats there, tumblers there. If you scroll down, go to PatriotTV.live, click on the menu, click on Play Harder Radio. Make sure you check out all the other shows as well. And you can watch us there. We'd love to have you watch us there, so looking forward to that. Buy a t-shirt, buy a hat. You don't have to wait for a bunch of orders to come in. They're all individually done, so produced and sent out. So love to have you grab something there. Let's get into a little bit of the news of the week, I guess. You know? I guess my number one thing, and I guess I got this shirt on. I don't know.
It looks good. It looks good. I like it.
It says, if this flag offends you, I'll help you pack. That is for you, Gwen Berry. Gwen Berry, bronze medal hammer thrower, Gwen Berry, who turned her back on the flag in the national anthem.
Yep.
How about that shit?
Yep. Somebody will turn their back on her, like their sponsors.
We'll see. It seems to be promoted. You know, the soccer woman, I know her name, but I'm not going to say it. Actually, Subway has taken her on as a national sponsor for her. Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people said goodbye to Subway sandwiches because of that.
Myself included.
Ditto. Ditto. Just amazing. I don't know how when you're do you remember when we were growing up? You're about 10 years old. You're about 10 years older, maybe 12 older than me. But when we were growing up, the Olympics was representing the United States in the Olympics. There was a sense of pride in doing that.
Oh yes,
right?
sir. Yeah, and you know, it should be still today. And I remember some of the people that wanted to go to the Olympics more than anything, and they just couldn't cut it. Now it just seems like anybody that leans left and has an axe to grind is the first ones they want to put out there to represent us.
It's I don't know. Can you like I said, I'll help you pack. You know, I just don't get, where do you think that what? Two things. Where's a better place? Where's a better place? Right? And number two, if it's so bad, why is everybody trying to get in here?
That's it. I don't know.
I mean, what the, you know what, over?
Yeah. Well, like we always said, as far as the United States goes, I don't know where I don't know where we rank in the world standing of countries, but we're so damn far out of whatever's in second place it don't count.
We probably rank down in the 30s or something about that as the best country to live. Yeah, go try out all those other countries. Like, I'll bet you we'd get you a ticket and a little startup money there in your new country. On that same line of thinking with the stuff that's going on these days, it's come to my attention through a news report this week that now gendering, we've got the gender situation going on.
Oh, yeah.
Gender fluidity, right? Gendering animals is bad. You're not allowed to choose the gender. You're not allowed to speak of the gender of an animal. I don't know how they let you know I don't know how do animals, Todd, do you think, communicate their gender?
It's the whole thing is they know that it's a fact. Whenever people have pets, if they're a male or female, and they just don't want. It's like they don't want to bring it up for our pets, so that we don't think about it being wrong for one another. Humans. So it's just It's like, okay, we can't deny it one place, so we can't talk about it anywhere.
I'm completely baffled. I'm completely baffled by come on.
We got 4 dogs. We just watch which one lifts their legs and which one squats,
But I don't think you can tell by that.
No, not anymore.
Nope, cannot tell by that.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about a few more current event things here in the sporting world, and maybe not in the sporting world. One definitely. Well, the next one's not in the sporting world, but and then we're going to get into Frenchy's career, which starting in the Marine Corps, where he grew up, where he was born, went into the Marine Corps in '65. We're going to get there, but we'll get there in a few minutes. Have you followed any of this Britney Spears saga? Have you heard anything about it at all?
I was listening to a little bit of it this morning,
Yeah.
Hey, some people, maybe they need their lives managed for them. I don't know, but I've never been in that.
I can't imagine that she is. I mean, how many people do you know that have a conservatorship running their life? I don't know any.
I don't either.
Todd?
Me personally, no, I don't.
Oh, you don't have a conservatorship yourself?
Well, I haven't really kept up with the whole Britney Spears thing. So
Well,
I
was
even know
just
what's going
speaking on you personally having a conservatorship.
Well,
Closest thing I come to that is having a wife.
Whew.
But that's a good thing. That's a good thing a lot of times.
Yeah. Yes. How long have you been married?
51 years.
51.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you've hit the big, is that the golden anniversary, number 50? I think is golden or whatever.
I don't know. That's
So no more celebrating for you. It's just life as usual now.
No, we pick a real good restaurant.
Nice. As it should be, right?
Then have to come home and let the dogs out.
You're better with her, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I'd be living under a bridge if it hadn't been for my wife.
It's with the Britney Spears thing, I just find it incredible that she is under this thing. She's worth, I was looking it up today. Todd, do you hear any kind of echo or anything?
no.
Okay. Just sounds a little. She's worth somewhere between $60 and $115 million. And somebody's controlling all that. One of the things she was complaining about in court is that she has an IUD and they won't let her take it out. That's pretty, she sold more tickets and albums, concert tickets and albums than both Jessica Simpson and Jennifer Lopez. They're worth 200 and 400 million respectively. They're spending all of her money in court battles. It sounds like just so her dad can be,
Yeah.
wealthy.
Yep.
He says, we miss Britney. We'd love to have her back.
Somebody texted in the TIA free Britney in the. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're keeping up with.
Tia, what's going on?
Actually,
That's my
hashtag free
that's my super patriot counterpart,
Oh, okay.
Tia Rebello, Mrs. Rebello. You can find Mrs. Rebello on, I don't know, 4 or 5 days a week, nights, evenings a week, at the establishment downtown Pensacola. Are you familiar with the establishment?
No.
Nice, private club downtown. Very reasonable to be a part of, and a great place to go have a cocktail, and under a quiet, nice, comfortable setting. So, you know that when when that baby One More Time song came out in 2008,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
it sold 500,000 copies the first day.
And
Amazing.
now at that point, I mean, that was before iTunes, or was it? Because that's been a while.
I think it was around then.
Was it? Okay.
I think it was around then. My friend, I have a friend, Neil Kroc, was in 8th grade then. He wrote her a letter on his AOL email account,
Asking
Saying
her
that-
to go to her his
saying that if
prom?
she ever came to Atlanta, he'd be happy to show her around.
Okay.
He was in love. Too funny.
Somebody, Aurora says it was 1998.
That's what I meant. 2008 is when the conservatorship happened.
Okay.
1998. My bad.
Yeah.
Thanks for keeping us straight there, Aurora.
Thank you, Gabby. I'm guessing it was Gabby.
No, that's Aurora.
I know what it says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll
No, you're good. You're the one that has to keep on track of that. I'm not allowed to look at it. My son says, "Quit looking at your phone. It's rude to your guest." But last thing on Brittany, Iggy Azalea says she's seen the. You know who that is? Iggy Azalea, another performer.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she has seen the behavior that Brittany talked about in court or whatever. She has seen it in person. She had to sign when she did a song with her at a music awards in 2015 or something like that. She had to sign a non-disclosure. Brittany's dad made her sign a non-disclosure for anything that went on. But she's talking about it now. So let's move on to sports. Just a few things, and then we'll get into your career.
Uh-oh.
I heard it came up again recently. It came up. Have you heard about the issues? So Michigan State. Do you remember Michigan State? The Dr. Nasser and the abuse that was going on in that program and at the school and with the Olympic program, Olympic gymnasts.
Yeah.
A lot of that went to them. A horrible thing. Recently it came out, and I guess it started maybe a year ago that it got in the news, but it was recently made a big deal by Bo Schembechler. Do you remember that name?
I don't remember that name.
Former
but I
coach
remember
of the University of Michigan.
That's Patriot, by the way.
Right on. Right on. Patriot is working, live and working. That's beautiful. Boom. That makes me feel good. Dr. Anderson at the University of Michigan, there's been like 900 athletes come forward
Oh,
and say that they were abused by this doctor,
yeah.
which it's a pretty sensitive subject to talk about, because when you've got people saying they're abused, you just can't dismiss it. I just don't get adults, or I mean men, nothing in the last 30 years, nobody has said anything. And then
All of
a
a sudden.
stepson brought it up, putting Bo Schembechler down. So, you can't discount the victims. It's horrible what's been going on. They had the same thing at Ohio State with a Dr. Strauss. The doctors, I don't know about Nasser's still around. He's in prison. Anderson and Strauss are both dead. But all this stuff always comes out about people after they're dead, and I don't get that.
Yeah.
Don't get it. Wimbledon's going on this week. Follow tennis?
A little bit. Not much, but
Who's your favorite tennis player?
No, I really don't have one. You know, it's
What tennis name do you know?
what's the one that? Never mind. I don't know what.
John McEnroe.
Right?
Yeah, I remember it was a twit, if I remember right.
A lot of people would say that.
You know, Marines have very low opinions of people that are too full of themselves. You know, so
Like Ed Rouse.
you mean too full of themselves, like Ed, or too full, like Ed Rouse thinks of people that are too full of themselves? You got.
I'm just kidding. I'm teasing Ed. Ed is the one that hooked Frenchy and I up for tonight.
Yeah, Ed's a good guy. Anytime you want to know anything historical.
Ed's got some knowledge.
Oh yeah.
Ed is a wealth of information.
Yeah.
But yeah, that doctor situation has got to go. But Wimbledon, I'm back to Wimbledon. I'm losing my mind here. Serena and Venus are both out.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I do remember them.
Serena pulled out in the first set of the first round, I believe, and Venus got beat in the second round.
Now, is Anna Kournikova, is she still playing? She was pretty hot, right? That's the blonde.
Is that what we were talking about?
Wasn't she a tennis player?
Hot tennis player? Yeah, she
Yeah,
was a tennis player.
I was just,
She was known for her physical attributes, I guess.
Okay.
For her beauty.
her beauty. That's what I was.
She actually was pretty good. I mean, you have to be a good tennis player to play on tour. So people like to dog her that she was a model playing tennis. Maybe that was true, but I think she had won a tournament or two. So I don't know. But anyway, Serena and Venus are both out. Rogers moved on into the third round. Djokovic is doing his thing. Probably is the favorite. He's the number one seed. I'd like to see Roger take him out, but we'll see how that goes. In the world of baseball, I find this fascinating. In 2017, I think was 17, 18, 19, 18, 2018, Shohei Ohtani from Japan came to Major League Baseball, a pitcher. And I was talking to you a little bit about this before the show. But this year, and I didn't look to see if I've been a little bit off on pro sports. Excuse me. Just because they can't separate their pro sports can't seem to separate politics and sports. I'd like to watch sports. I don't care what where you stand, how you think. I'm there to watch you play. You know, I tune in. I'm there to watch you play ball.
Yeah.
That's all. Don't care about the other. You can talk about the other. Do it on your own time.
I mean, I barely care what you think. I mean,
Well,
but
this is
for me
well
to care
known.
about what they think is even worse.
This is well known for people that know Todd and I, Frenchy. So, and you got to realize the sarcasm here.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he
Well,
knows he knows I love him.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but
You start taking, quote, professional ball players and the types of money they make for what they do. You know, if they got a political opinion, they're entitled to it, but we don't have to listen to it. You know, people don't spend money to buy tickets, go to ball games to watch some idiot make some kind of a statement that goes against your own values.
Right. Speaking of, Todd, you know what picture to bring up?
oh yes, hold on,
That might take a second.
it might.
Let me know.
Let me just adjust this.
Are you ready? You're taking too long.
You're fired.
I'm fired.
You're fired. No, don't talk about Trump. We don't want to make anybody mad.
Why not?
Here we go. Now
We're on the same
There we
page.
go.
Yeah, so it's up there now. So what
Yeah.
the picture that's up there right now is
Wait, something happened. That
Uh-oh.
was weird. Okay.
This is the first one of this.
Now it's up. That's
LeBron James is who we got up
Yeah.
there now.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, I don't want to hear what you think. Just play basketball.
That's it. Yeah.
Means that you can't form a sentence with proper English anyway.
okay. That's just
But anyway, Shohei Ohtani from Japan. This year, he came over as a pitcher. So this year he's 3-1 with a 3.60 ERA, 60 innings pitched, 83 strikeouts. Pretty solid pitcher. He's also the DH hitting 277 with 28 home runs and 63 RBIs. That's on track for around 60. He's He's got 75 games in,
Okay.
162 game season. So that probably is somewhere around a 60 home run, 130 RBI year, which is Babe Ruth numbers.
It's like shooting .499 on the range.
Yeah,
You got to relate something to, you know what I mean?
exactly. But I find he's just phenomenal. It's crazy. He came over as a pitcher. He's arguably one of the best hitters in the league. And speaking of baseball, Beard Vet, by the way, Beardo, Sean George, is who owns the PatriotTV.live platform, lives in Omaha, Nebraska. And he was at last night's College World Series game. Did you flip through that, Catch?
I did not.
Mississippi State and
Okay.
Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt won the last College World Series in 2019. They beat my Michigan Wolverines. They advanced to the finals because the NCAA sent North Carolina State home, who was playing, you could arguably say, was playing better than anybody in the tournament, sent them home due to COVID protocols. Mm-hmm. They had vaccinated players who tested positive.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible given what the media says.
Kind of like being almost pregnant, huh?
The miracle of vaccination. The players. Now I've heard two things that for the players that tested positive, they had played with them the night before when they already knew they were positive. They let them play one night, sent them home the next night when they had a chance to win and go to the World Series, to the finals. The NCAA and ESPN sucked up to them like, oh, this was a good decision. I don't understand the good decision when at that age, you don't die from it. There's no complications there's can be complications, but COVID is real. But with a 99.9974 survival rate, what are they doing? Who are they protecting?
Yeah. I don't want to get too political on that one, but does the word, bullshit come to mind?
Often.
Yeah.
Often.
Well.
But Mississippi State beat Vanderbilt last night 9-0, 9-0. Before last night, they were one of three teams, Mississippi State, of the Power 5 schools, so the Power 5 conferences. They were one of three teams in the Power 5 conferences to never have won an NCAA championship in any sport whatsoever. Kansas State and Virginia Tech are the other two teams. But Mississippi State took themselves off that list. Vanderbilt just played horrible through the whole World Series. Errors and walks. I don't know how, you can't, there's two things you can't do. Walk batters and commit errors. You can't put people on base for free. 2-out walks. You know what? You look at it, 2-out walks, they score every time. It's not every time, but it's like every time because you think about it. That's the one thing, 2-out walk. 2-out walk. Sure enough, somehow that guy scores. But a lot of errors, a lot of walks. Jack Leiter, they won game one. I think they won game one 7-1, if I'm remembering correctly. I know they were up 5-1. I think they won it 7-1. But Jack Leiter, I think, may be likely the number one pick in the Major League Baseball draft. So we shall see. But it's over. I have an invite to go next year to the
Really?
World Series. Yeah. So Beardo is invited. He said next week you'll have to come out. So I'm like, I accept.
Well, if you ever been up to an all-star game?
I've been to the All-Star game at Coors Field in Denver.
You didn't make the one in D.C. a couple of years ago?
I don't remember why I lived there then.
Did you?
Did I live there then? Was it within the last 5 years or
Well,
just before
18,
that?
I think
Yeah,
it
I was
18.
not up there then. No, I didn't make it to that.
Yeah, I got to go to that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did. A friend of mine, guy named Ballard, he's a Medal of Honor recipient. They had almost 30 Medal of Honor recipients as guests to that All-Star game. They put them all out on the field.
Wow.
It was a nice event, you know, and that's what I like about baseball. I like going to the clubhouse and sitting there and having a few drinks. And,
Right.
you know, I don't see too much of the game. I just watch the field when everybody screams. I go back to my beer.
Was Woody there?
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, Woody.
I assume
So many of the guys.
Woody Williams. What's his full name?
Herschel Woody Williams.
Herschel.
Yep.
Right.
Herschel Williams.
I have the plaque from when we had the dinner here a couple of
Really?
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Well, you know, it was interesting how that got to come here. You know, Doc Ballard, he's a former Navy corpsman, and he went over to the Army Reserves. He got when he retired out, he wound up the chief medical officer for the Army Reserves in the state of Missouri, and Doc works with everybody, you know, helping them reach their goals. And we were having breakfast right here in Pensacola on the anniversary of the Corpsman's founding of the Navy Hospital Corps. And, well, hey, what's up, Doc? And, I've been helping Woody with his thing. What's that all about? He said a couple of things about it, and Glassman looked around the table and said, how come we don't have one? We got a park.
Right.
Phone call was made, and, you know, that's that's how it works.
It was a great dinner. He is quite the orator.
He is.
He was a great storyteller.
Yeah.
Some great. You know what was the story? I can't remember what was it, MacArthur? Who I can't remember the story about between the admiral and the general. I think. I can't remember. I shouldn't even bring it up because I don't have enough recollection of that story. There was great stories.
Yeah. Well, you know, Woody's had a lot of time to
Did
practice.
people?
You know?
Did somebody record that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. You know, we should. Just about, you know, with Woody being the age he is and all, they ought to record everything he says.
He's one of the last. How many now?
He is the
Last.
last living Medal of Honor recipient from World War II.
Wow.
And before that, he was the last living Medal of Honor recipient from Iwo Jima.
Right.
Last living Marine Medal of Honor recipient from World War II period.
Wow.
So he's last man standing.
That's and you wouldn't know that he's that age.
Nope.
And you know what? What a schedule he goes on.
Think young, be young.
We talked a little bit about that, right?
Yes, sir.
If you say you're old, what are you? Old.
You become what you think about.
Thoughts become things,
Yes,
right?
sir. Thoughts of things.
We'll get into more of that, but one more thing. Stanley Cup's going on. The Tampa Bay Lightning, the Bolts, are up 2-0 on the Montreal Canadiens, which I'm very happy about, not only because the Bolts are a Florida team, but because the Canadians are Canadian now. And there's such a mess up there with,
oh, yeah.
what's his ass?
The ballet queen that thinks he's a president. Don't get me
Justin Trudeau.
Trudeau, yes.
Justin Trudeau. What a dipshit.
Well,
But they're only allowing up there. So the Stanley Cup, right? I mean,
Yep.
it is my favorite. March Madness is college basketball tournament, right?
okay.
Which a lot of people say the best time of the year. And I get it. Hockey is a little bit. It's one of the four major sports. You would say there's three major sports. It's one of the four major. It's a little bit of an outlier for a lot of people, Americans and stuff. In Canada, it's the be-all, end-all,
Yeah.
of course. But I love hockey. And the NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, are the best, is the best tournament playoffs in sports. It's amazing. It's a whole new level of the game. There's no messing around, no fooling around. It's a long season in all sports these days, but the way it goes up for the NHL playoffs, for the Stanley Cup playoffs, is just phenomenal.
Well, hockey.
But they're only allowing 3,500 fans for the Stanley Cup up
Really?
there. Yep. They were hoping they could get, which I'm guessing is around. They were hoping to get around 10,000, 10,500, which is about 50%.
Uh-huh.
But not happening. 3,500 fans for the Stanley Cup. What a travesty.
Why is that?
COVID.
Give me a break.
I mean,
Hockey players don't get COVID.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have.
but Canada still is so shut down. I mean, it's
That's what part of the problem is that you're not. You're gone. Are you muted?
no.
Weird. Sounds like it's
Now
just.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I just had the mic away from my mouth a little.
No, you didn't. You had it muted.
No, I didn't. I had it. We're good.
So, but yeah, 3,500 fans. It's just a travesty for the sport.
Oh, you gotta,
Sports are a travesty right now without fans
well,
in general.
you know, why you pay these guys all this
That's
money
right,
is because
Rick.
people pay to see them. And if
Rick
nobody's
saying
seeing them,
Communist Canada.
you know,
What's that?
Rick just said Communist Canada.
Right?
they're not tough enough to be communists. They're socialist.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Communism light.
Yeah, that's it. Commie light.
Connor McDavid from the Oilers was named the Hart Trophy winner today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday, actually, or this week anyway. But he's the 100 voters, 100 sports writers vote. He got all 100 votes, unanimous winner for the Hart Trophy, which is the MVP of the NHL. Who do you think? I know you're both not much hockey fans, but who do you think is the last unanimous winner?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Gretzky.
Very good, Todd.
I
Very
met
good.
Wayne Gretzky.
You'd met Wayne Gretzky.
Yes, I have.
When?
At well, at the Derby. one
Vivid.
time.
It's
At the
vivid.
At the Derby, but then also at a birthday party, and I'm trying to remember what the guy's name is. That it was his birthday party, his wife's birthday party. It doesn't matter.
One of
But
the
I met him at
trainers?
the Derby. No, a movie producer. But anyway, that's
Scorsese?
no, the one that does CSI. Who's the?
Oh, a TV producer.
Well, he does movies too.
Well, Gary Sinise is attached to CSI.
Yeah.
Michael Mann?
No, not Michael Mann.
I can't remember.
I can't either right now.
Cool though. How did you talk to him much, or was it just
It was just he's, he was at the party too,
Right.
and that kind of thing. Or he was at the Derby. I met him at the Derby.
that was in 81, 82.
Oh.
Both Edmonton Oilers. So, but yeah. Well, let's talk about you a little bit, Frenchy.
Okay.
That's why you're here, right?
I was wondering what
You've had
that was about.
well, if we were going to get around to it.
No, I just wondering.
So, born in Nantucket, Massachusetts.
Yes, sir. I usually don't admit that too much. It's kind of like admitting having a sister in a brothel, but yeah, I'm from Massachusetts.
Woof.
It's-
Well, the Northeast isn't, being a Marine and conservative, and but I'm sure there's got to be a lot of conservatives up there.
Absolutely. It's just that we let the other guys get the upper hand. You go to South Boston, and just about every block in South is named for a Marine killed in some hellhole somewhere. We got some really super patriots up there, but most of them just keeping their mouth shut, waiting for the balloon to go up.
Right. Explain that to me, waiting for the balloon to go up.
Well, one of these days, they're going to push
Oh, gotcha.
too far, and they're going to send a signal, and, whether you're 80, 90 years old, Once you've been in harness, when the fire bell goes off, you're stomping in the stable just waiting to hook up and go.
You guys got all those? You graduated from high school in 1965?
Well, actually, I was supposed to graduate, but I left by popular request.
Class of 65?
Yes, high school class 65. That's,
Now, what does popular request mean?
well, it was like this. Most of my teachers and guidance counselors, they all had a running wager going what I was going to get first, a high school diploma or my first Social Security check. I did not have a very good run in high school. I had a lot of fun, but
not a very illustrious high school career.
that's it. I knew I was going to have to do something different with my time.
So on 13 September
Yes, sir.
1965, you enlisted in the United States Marine Corps.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What made you want to join the Marine Corps?
Well, number of things. I wanted to go to something that was going to be challenging, and a service that appreciated the guys that went the extra mile. And not only that, but the neighborhood I come from, most of the guys had older brothers that served in the Marine Corps, all the way back to whenever, So it was kind of traditional in a way,
Right.
and they made it appealing.
Did your you didn't get drafted then, you enlisted?
Oh yeah, I was only 17. I had
Yeah.
to get a signature from my stepdad. That was interesting too, because he was World War II, and he knew what war was all about, and that rich men start wars and poor men's sons fight them.
Right.
And he just, even though did a very honorable tour with UDT in the Pacific and the Navy. He didn't want to discourage me, but he didn't want to encourage me either. And it was
Right.
what happened with my son too. When his time came to go and Clinton was coming into office, saw what was happening. Says, don't do it because you think you want to please me. Do it because it's something you want to do.
Right.
Because if something happens to you, I don't want to, I don't want that to be on my, on my hands. And but anyways, I wanted to go, and I knew I had to do something different than what I was doing. Scholastically, I wasn't going to cut it. So.
Right. Well, and also at that time, you had to know you're going to go see. Pretty likely you're going to go see some of the nasty side of war.
Oh yeah.
Because at that time, and it was very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
We're right in the middle of Vietnam.
Well, actually, we were just cranking up, which was in a way was good because I got opportunities handed to me because they needed people. It was funny because in second week of April of '65, Life magazine did a 13-page black and white with Larry Burroughs on what was going on in Vietnam. Because we had just March of '65 we committed. And then April of '65, we had, for the first time, Marines in Marine helicopters taking Marines into combat in Vietnam. Prior to that, our helicopters were used to take the Vietnamese into combat. And Larry Burroughs was there to record it all.
Larry Burroughs being?
Larry Burroughs was probably one of the most famous combat photographers. And he disappeared in Cambodia, someplace we never were, according to Johnson,
Right.
But when we went into the Parrot's Beak, what was that, about '72, first time going in, whether we definitely went in, maybe that was under Nixon. And
Probably under Nixon, yeah.
yeah, we had the Army went in and en masse lost hundreds of guys. And Burroughs was on one of the Army helicopters and went down. Of course, I was long out by that time. But I did read the story in Life magazine in April of '65. They used to ask me to leave class quite regular because I was disruptive. So the routine was I'd go to the library. They put me in the quiet room and let me read magazine articles until my next class. So anyways, I read the 13-page story, and I somewhere's in the back of my mind, and I had a great phys ed teacher / track coach, and he was also a captain in the Army Reserves. And
Nice.
he knew what was going down. He warned us. He says, you class of 65, you guys better get your act together because you are going to war. And number of us took it seriously. Of course, I was physically fit anyway, but I was up for it, and I listened to him. He says, yeah, this is what's going on. And I also had a really good civics teacher. He introduced me to None Dare Call It Treason. I think it was about 1964, the book that came out. And if you ever get a chance to look at that book by John Stormer, you'll see where we are now.
Name of the book again?
None Dare Call It Treason.
None Dare Call It Treason.
And they still don't. There ain't nobody right now that still has the nerve to call it treason. And we wouldn't be where we are if some other people...
If somebody did.
Yeah. And if somebody had stood up when the time was right, and they're not doing it now, and they've emasculated the generals and the admirals and made careerists out of them, and getting any one of them now they wouldn't say shit if they had a mouthful.
Right.
And you can tell where I'm going.
Well, was it Milley? Is it pronounced Milley? General Milley?
Yeah.
Is that who the
rhymes with silly? Yeah.
Is he the chief of staff or
Joint Chiefs?
Joint Chief, but he stuck up for critical race theory the other day.
Absolutely, that's his career.
Mind-boggling.
Not really.
I mean, just
the CFR and New World Order, they don't like generals at all, but they realize they need them because they can be useful idiots too. They use the generals too because they know in order to push this crap, they need the generals to enforce it. And they need people that'll take an oath to their country, stand up, and then they follow orders. And trouble is, they don't teach anybody anymore in the military the difference between a lawful and an unlawful order. All right?
I don't think anybody talks about that too much.
No, well,
outside of the circles that maybe, in the civilian circles, we don't hear that.
Civilians, they got too much else to worry about, like, who's kneeling at ball games and shit like that.
Right.
And, I never thought I'd be serious about life, really. I mean, still don't know what I want to be when I grow up, so I'm not gonna push it. But I've learned a lot along the way, and I've gotten pretty cynical on certain things. And, I'm pretty damn serious about looking at my grandchildren and saying, what the hell is going to happen to them? I tried to bring them up, letting them be kids and enjoy this country. But you know what? Nobody else is letting their kids grow up and be kids. They're teaching them to grow up and kill our kids.
Right.
And I've been places and seen things. I
think people don't take that very seriously.
They don't.
At all.
No. In another life, one of my business partners was a Christian Nigerian. All right, and there's a big difference. Nigerians are probably, as a country goes, they provide the world with probably about 80% of the scam artists. Mm-hmm. And anyways, my business partner, when I was traveling over there back in the early 80s, he'd been a Biafran soldier. Now, way back when, when all the Coca-Cola commercial people, I want to teach the world to sing. They were doing Band-Aid, and that was all about, sending money over to the survivors of the Biafran War. And you mentioned the Biafran War these days. People don't even know what it was.
I don't.
Well, I'll fill you in. Around 1968, the Nigerian government, they were pretty much coming down on all the Christians, especially all the Christian villagers, and finally the Christians had enough. And a 25-year-old Nigerian major in the Nigerian army named Chukwu Nzugu, he was, legendary mystic. They thought he was a mystic. Actually, he was just a really good strategist, and I think he planned the assassination of like 26, politicians and so on and so forth. And he had a strategy, and he managed to whack them all in one night, all within like an hour's time.
Wow.
And that's what kicked off the Biafran War. It was basically a civil war. We had some folks over there early on, but 1968 we had our own problems with Quezon and everything else. So our guys were pulled out, and the Biafrans were left, to fare for themselves. I think it lasted about 6-7 years. Anyways, my business partner was Nzugu's radio operator and lieutenant, and he came here after everything was over. He went to school, got his master's degree in business, and that's how I met this guy. He was talking to some manufacturers, about equipment, take over there to do a business he was starting, and I was a rep for the company, and I was young, and most of the reps for the company were all well established, nice homes and stuff, and this guy wanted to pay him to go to Nigeria and set up this company, and none of these guys wanted to go over there and live in a grass hut with dirt floor, and
Right.
they just weren't mercenary enough to want to do this. I asked them what it paid and figure out how much I could make, and said, shit, I got my bags packed. When do I leave? And
That was what year?
back in the 80s, around 82 or so, 81, 82. And but it provided me with an interesting career. I was a manufacturer's rep. I'm not very bright, but I'm trainable. You can put me in a factory and show me something and give me a week or so, I'll figure it out and I'll go
Right.
sell it. And it was just a interesting lifestyle. But I also I had established myself in the Marine Corps as a pretty loyal guy. I shy away from using terms like patriot and patriotism and stuff like that because anybody can wave a flag and talk a good game, but when the shit hits the fan, who's still who's to your left and who's to your right and who's going to be behind you?
Well, I think most of us say that we'll be there, and I think when I think of a lot of people, or when people talk about which side of the fence the left or right that they're on politically or whatever, how many of your friends are going to be there when the shit hits the fan? That's what I want to know.
Well, the problem
Right.
is most of them are not going to be able to, only because their age, their health. There's a lot of things that come into it, and not only that, but not everybody's trained for it.
Right.
And
Well,
they
we're
don't-
not trained.
and they don't
I
know what
say
to
I'll
do.
be there,
Yeah.
but I swear I'd die for this country, but I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, you don't.
We don't know what that's
Yeah.
like.
Where are you going to go?
I haven't seen any of that.
Where are you going to go?
You know?
Yeah, you're right. And the thing is Patriots now, we have to support the guys that are doing things behind the scenes. See, and I've been on different sides, and I've seen a lot of different sides to everything. And what we used to say was, they got their bad guys, we got our bad guys, and our bad guys are better than your bad guys.
Right.
But the problem is now is, the bad guys don't do it out of loyalty or love for the country or whatever. They do it for the buck and the career, and that's how we wound up with the deep state, And that's how we wound up with the perfumed princes of the Pentagon. The guys wearing the light, shiny armor, while the real guys that go out and fight the battles wear the heavy shit that they got to hike around.
They say that generals are typically those people, a lot of those people, with the shiny armor, right?
Oh, yeah.
But one that we know was not was Chuck Pittman.
I knew General Pittman very well, and you judge your generals and your leaders by what their troops say about them. And when you can line up 100 troops and every damn one of them would follow a guy through the gates of hell, that was Pitt.
I can see where you're coming from there, talking about General Pittman. Two little stories about him. Do you know Ronald Smith?
I do.
Crazy Ron. He gives me that guy. I love that guy.
Too bad he was in the Army. He'd have made a
I
hell
know,
of a
right?
Marine.
What do you guys call them? Do you have a name for them, or do they have the name for he? Or is it him that was telling me that he has a name for the Marines?
Well, they call us everything from jarheads to grunts to.
I can't remember what it was, but he's got a, he talks some smack. He's hilarious. Gives me crap every time I see him, and I give it right back to him. But he's the one that made me aware of General Pittman. Living in the area here, being in the area here, and I'm like, and he's like, he hangs out at the Shaker, and I'm like, really? Yeah. Because I use the word worship, but you know what I mean.
I do.
I love those guys. And I consider that kind of a real patriot. And he told me Ronald told me the story about the helicopter and the Holiday Inn in New Orleans and the sniper and how he commandeered the helicopter without permission and went and helped take that sniper out. Really, he saved the day.
Oh yeah.
And so I said my daughter was bartending out there, and I said I called her. I mean, like immediately I called her, and she happened to answer, and I go, "Do you know General Pittman?" She goes, "Who?" I go, "General Pittman at the Shaker." She goes, "You mean Chuck?" And I go, "No, I don't mean Chuck, and you can't call him Chuck. It's General Pittman, right?" Yep. And she goes, "Well, we call him Chuck, And so, like the next time I'm out there, I went up to her bar, and she goes, "General Pittman's over at the other bar," and I'm like, "Really?" And I went over and introduced myself, and he couldn't have been more engaging and polite. And I mean, he was talking, I think, and I said, "General Pittman, excuse me, pardon me, I just wanted to introduce myself, respect you, appreciate you." And he was just amazing, and I think it was that time he gave me his coin. So I have a 3-star general's coin, which a lot of people do not have.
It's good, yeah.
And but just an amazing man. And but the other story about him is Colonel Holsworth, caveman, Chris Caveman Holsworth. He was going to be here tonight. He had to reschedule. That's how we were fortunate enough to get you in here tonight. But he said told me about General Pittman that really stuck with me was that one of his lines that he was known for was, "Who's going with me?" It wasn't, "You guys go do this, you guys go fight this battle, you guys go do this battle." Yeah. For General Pittman, it was, "Who's going with me?"
Yeah. And, getting back to other stuff, like prophets of war and stuff like this, we went into Vietnam with helicopters that really weren't quite ready yet, CH-46 Sea Knight. It did prove out to be great, but not without cost. And,
which you were on a crew of, right?
I was earlier on. I was the old H-34 guy with big rubber tires, but I because of the changing times, I did others. Right. But the 46s were having major problems, staying together, engineering problems. And they were actually hard down for maintenance because they had to figure out what was wrong in this one instance. And so they put these helicopters at a thing where they could only leave the ground on a life-saving mission, like a medevac emergency where nobody else could make it. And then the pilots could not be made to take that mission and lose their wings. The pilots had to be volunteers. And so were the crew members, like crew chiefs and gunners. You couldn't make them go. But, crew chiefs and gunners, they had an aircraft. if it left the ground, they went with it. It was a matter of honor. And
Which you were a gunner and a crew chief.
yeah. And so we didn't have to go. They couldn't pull our wings. Our wings were combat awards. They weren't, something you got as a status that could be taken away from you. And so anyways, Chuck Pittman and lots of other guys like him, they would show up with their gear to fly, and if there was a mission to be flown, it's exactly what it was. Okay, I'm taking it. Who's going with me? They were lined up out the door to go.
I can't imagine. And speaking of the helicopters, and two things. You survived a midair collision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then also on the helicopter thing, and we talk about General Pittman with the helicopters. Caveman still instructs. I assume that it's a contract thing.
Yes.
That he instructs at night, does a lot of the night instruction.
Yes. Yeah, he's a sim instructor. In other words, he puts them in the simulators, and it's a good thing for an older guy like Caveman, see, because you screw up, you can always hit the reset button on the sim.
Caveman, I want you to remember that when you get on here. An old guy, it's good for an old guy like you.
That's it. He knows I grind him every time I get the chance.
Well, you know what? I've met a few of those guys. A few of you guys, not a ton of you, but it's all a good. It's a good family and community. It's a great family and community.
Yeah, it's a brotherhood. It really is.
And as while we're talking about Colonel Holtzman, this year is the Tell Staffing and HR that sponsors the show. It's up there right now. Is the title sponsor for the Marine Corps League 5K run for children.
Yes.
And that is Colonel Holtzman's baby.
Yeah.
Started 38 years ago.
Caveman. Yeah. When he was a lieutenant.
After Beirut. Mm-hmm. The attack on Beirut and the families that were devastated by that.
Yes.
And so this year it's going to be November 13th. I remembered, I think it's awesome that it's going to be November 13th because that's 2 days after Veterans Day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Veterans Day, I'm going to say, is on a Thursday then, and then the race will be on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But, tells the lead sponsor for that, if anybody, wants to sponsor that race, please let us know in the notes or email us, message us on Facebook, get a hold of the Marine Corps League. But he's very passionate about it. He brings when he gets excited and ramped up about the race. He's fun to listen to.
Oh, absolutely. Caveman's a hoot.
We've he's got some energy, and when he gets excited, it's awesome. Yeah. But we've gone up every year, and we've got a pretty. I don't think he minds me saying our goal this year is 50,000.
Yeah,
to raise, which is about 13, 14 more than 2 years ago. We didn't have it last year, so we're going to be working on that, and we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, if the inflation rate doesn't kill us, maybe we'll go for 75,000 so we can.
Well, we I think we got some things in mind to make this year a special year. Mm-hmm. So the establishment, Tia Rebello, who commented, and she's the general manager down at the establishment that I was talking about. We're going to do she's offered to do a fundraiser down there.
Great.
For the race, and so a lot of the who's who in Pensacola will be around, and we're hoping to make that a pretty damn big event.
Great.
We don't know exactly when we're going to do it yet. I imagine when it gets a little closer to the race, September, October kind of thing. But I think that's going to be an amazing night and raise some good money for 6 kids charities, which it's pretty special.
They go back, those charities. They go way back. You know, I've been in the area for 23 years, and it was before my time. You know, they were started a lot of those, and they're perpetuated. And we come from Pensacola in general and surrounding areas. They're a very benevolent community.
Right.
You know, and I attribute that to the fact that there's just so much active duty, retired, and veterans in the area because they
A
know what
lot
it's
of
like.
them.
Yeah.
Yes.
They know what it's like to be without and to be hurting and to have to, step up when the time is right to help somebody else out,
One of the, are many of those charities, there's 6 of them, but many of them benefit and take care of emotionally and physically challenged
Yes.
kids,
Yeah.
which is all the more reason to back it.
Yeah. That's why strong, enthusiastic, ambitious people, that's what our calling has to be, taking care of the young and the old. Because we've already been young.
We're called to do that.
Yes.
It's
It's what we're supposed to do. That's
we are our brother's keeper,
Yep.
not by order of the central government, though.
No. Big Brother doesn't belong
On
in
our
our
own.
family.
On our own. We do that on our own.
Yep.
That's what I find a little bit left and right, Democrats, Republicans, however you want to put it or whatever. I think a lot of our values are aligned. Most of our values are aligned. They want to help the poor, they want to help the disabled or whatever. We want to do that. There's just a difference in how you want to do it. Do you want to do it through they want to do it through the government. We want to do it through amongst ourselves, because we don't want to have it taken, because not enough of it gets to the recipients that needs to get to the recipients when you run it through another entity.
It's called a trickle down.
Yeah.
We know what that's all about.
Right. Well, not much trickles down in that arena.
Yeah, that's amazing that you say that, especially when the government funds the VA, and what the trickle down there is amazing. I won't get into all the aspects of it, but there's more than enough money in taxes raised in this country. We could take care of every citizen in this country very well and should.
Absolutely. Well, we got to quit giving it to everybody else.
Well, that's part of it, and not only that, but we have to stop how many times that amount of money stops and gets skimmed before it gets to where
Right.
it's supposed to go, and that's the
That's
biggest
why you
problem.
don't do it. Like, this money goes directly to these charities.
There you go. I mean, we don't, you don't screw around with Marines when it comes to doing the right thing for the right reasons. And, that's why, we take our fundraising seriously. And I've worked with a lot of, 501c3s, nonprofits for veterans and stuff. And the first thing I look at is how big is the board of directors, who's getting paid and how much.
Right.
And I'm fortunate, I took care of myself. I was my own Santa Claus and made some money and properties and stuff. And then when I finally did get retired, I was, I live frugal enough that I don't need to go out and make anything. So I only work where the whole staff is volunteers.
Right.
And here in Pensacola, we've got a number of 501c3s that should be embarrassing the hell out of the people that get paid to run the city, because, most of our people do a hell of a lot better job and do it out of the goodness of their heart,
Right.
And so I look at some of these organizations, and we have no paid staff, no paid board members or any of this stuff. And, I haven't even added up the numbers of organizations that benefit from one or two organizations here that make it their thing to support them.
It's amazing. what some of these organizations do. It's amazing what the Marine Corps League does.
Yeah. Well, you know,
There's several different events a year that you raise money with.
yes, sir. Yeah. And it's, you know, everybody has their own, you know, token interest. In other words, some people will do anything for kids. Some people do anything for, you know, old folks,
Right.
whatever. And the key is, you know, we consider ourselves facilitators. In other words, we know where all the needs are because we're the type of people everybody comes to with problems and needs. And fortunately, we're able to say, hey, I can't do that, but I know a guy,
Right.
you know, and that's how we work. And a lot of us, we learned that as teenagers in the Marine Corps because, you know, we didn't make any money. We had to survive, you know, and then we were put in situations where you didn't take care of the next guy, you know, he wasn't going to be there for you. It's almost like a yogiism, you know. It's like today I went to a funeral for a friend of mine, and he was one of the Marines. And, you know, yogiisms is, you know, if you don't go to your friend's funeral, how do you expect them to go to yours?
Right. Right.
Well, you know, Marines learn this at a real young age. And we
Probably been to far too many.
yeah, it's you gotta give back. Yeah.
Well, you what can you tell me about your time serving, and any interesting stories? Any stories you like to tell, or any good gunner stories, or?
Well, everything that I don't talk, you know, I don't talk any, you know, like I say, I don't talk shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
I had mentors when I was in the Marine Corps that were genuine folks, and I was taught that what you want to do is try to remember something good about everybody that you meet, and especially the older guys. And they'd say, you know, someday you're going to run into a kid somewhere, and the kid said, "You were in the Marines?" "Yeah." "Vietnam, helicopter?" "Yeah." "My dad was a Marine, you know, and he was killed in Vietnam. Did you know him?" And, you know, ironically, it's like getting a shower with ice water because it happens.
Wow.
They'll come up to you and say, "Did you know my dad?" And they'll tell you the name. And, you know, you don't really want the kid to know how bad it could have been or would have been. And so you learned how to deal with that stuff. And I can't tell you the amount of times. It's almost, for me, there's no such thing as coincidence. All the
You reading my mind? I was just going to ask. I was
Yeah.
just going to say when you got done with this story,
Yeah.
you said in your bio you don't believe in coincidence.
I don't.
Tell me about that.
Well, I've had some interesting. See, I'm not a big church goer. You know, I'm not what they consider to be religious, but I am deeply spiritual. Because I don't know too many people that preach or quote chapters and verse that have actually ever been at that white portal. All right, and been judged and sent back. Okay, and I never talked about that for years because you know what happens when a first-time young Marine has a near-death experience, you know, and he finds a little bit of religion or spirit or
Right.
ritual or whatever, you know, he gets a label, you know what I mean? So I just kept my mouth shut. I never said nothing. But the older I got, the less I give a shit about what people think.
Isn't that the truth?
So some years ago, a bunch of us guys were sitting around, and I mean, these guys have been through some grinders. My buddy Mike Clausen from one of them, and anyways, we were in a casual conversation, and all of a sudden we just wind up looking at each other like, "You too?" And it was a number of us that had been through these things, and every one of us were living on 9 lives. So the question was, why? You know, are we being saved for a worse fate, or are we here left to do something? And I just believe that. I believe every time I meet somebody, it's not a coincidence, for a reason. I don't know what it is, but I stay active with that. I look forward to going out and meeting new people, talking to new people.
Well, just like me and just like you and I,
Yeah.
Yeah. Caveman wasn't able to do it. Ed said, let me see what I can do, and
Look,
sent me your name. I gave you a call.
yeah. Anytime you can't get a colonel to do something, just find a corporal. He'll take good care of it. No problem.
See this sounds like what colonels say about generals.
Yeah. Yeah. Say, don't worry, General. You go have a beer. I'll take care
Yeah,
of
if you
it.
want a photo op,
Yeah.
call a general. If you want to get something done, call a colonel.
Yeah. Absolutely. But we all know our place, and we all do what we have to do. And I've never been disappointed with Caveman or any of these guys, and that's why I go. I fly under the radar. You know what I mean? I just if I see something, if it's the right thing to do for the right reasons, and that's what I do.
Well, I think I think you know a lot of people in the area and made a lot of connections in the area, and have made yourself not known by being loud and wanting to be known. You just have done a lot of things for and with a lot of people, and have created a reputation in the area.
I try. It's just it's the nature. The only thing, the big thing that I missed most about having been in the Marine Corps was the camaraderie.
Right.
And so I never really left the fold. I tell people, I cheated on my retirement. Everybody else had to do 20 years. All I had to do was a little over 4, and to get my quote retirement, but it was it's a hard 4 years.
Right. It was a hard 4 years for you. You dealt with a lot of injuries
Yeah.
and such.
Yeah.
Well, the midair collision.
Yeah, that was, that happened it was a training mission for Vietnam, and we were trying out a lot of new stuff, because that was still early on. It was 1967, and, we were doing a training op and testing out the new 53s and so forth, and just a comedy of horrors in the tower, in the control tower. They got things crossed up, and they put 2 aircraft in the same airspace at the same time, and somewhere between 350 and 500 feet, 130 knots, we ran over another helicopter.
Wow.
So
Just didn't see it coming? Just out of the blue?
Well, there was
All of a sudden?
Well, yeah, but it was what they call Cavu skies. It was not a cloud in the sky. Everything was perfect, but it happened right over midfield. But all of the circumstances that put us together in the same place should never have happened, and never would have happened ordinarily. It was just circumstances that day, and matter of minutes, 22 guys were killed. Actually, 21. This 22nd guy, he died in the hospital that night. And then there was 13 survivors total, of which 4 of us aggregate months in the hospital. 4 of us put in 39 months worth of healing up.
8 of which were yours.
Yes, yeah.
Now you put up. That's a whole nother. You didn't put that part in your story. You said you survived a midair collision, but it gives it a whole new perspective to know that 22, 23 guys lost their life.
Yeah, it was 22 lost, 13 survivors, and out of 13 survivors, to the best of my knowledge, only 3 of us stayed on active duty, flew again, and all 3 of us went to Vietnam, 2 of us for our first tours, and 1 on his 3rd tour.
Wow. Yeah, you went, that was in 67, right?
Well, by the time I got out of the hospital, it would put me right at the end of TET 68.
Well, I mean, it happened in 67.
Oh, yes, sir, June
and I
of
see
67.
June 23rd.
Yes, sir.
So my son's birthday.
Yeah, so is my wife.
and my friend Wayne Brown, who owns Tell Staffing and HR, his birthday.
And my wife's. And I got out of the Marine Corps on the 23rd, and it happened over runway 23.
Wow.
And 1 year later, the guy that pulled me out of the fire was shot down in his aircraft in Vietnam, number 23, and lost his best friend, the gunner. So, like I say, there's all you look around is just, why did that number come up?
Speaking of your wife that you've been married to for 51 years.
Yes, sir.
In January, it was 51 years.
Yes.
So you're working on 52.
Yeah. Looks good so far.
Where'd you go for dinner this year?
Well, we didn't do much this year because of COVID. Not that we cared, but
Right.
everybody else was going to
Everybody
make
else
it.
did.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to eat spaghetti through a mask, so we just put that off. But we did I think we did the 50th. We had breakfast down at Another Broken Egg down there with Homer and Mary. And that's because we had a vet down there that we brought back from the edge, and we were making a presentation to this vet's son to help him get through school. We got him the tools he needed to get his aviation certification.
Excellent.
And so we, that was a good thing to do on our anniversary, was to do something for somebody else.
That's awesome. Spaghetti, huh? You like Italian?
Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite?
Well, I haven't found I hate to say this, but I really haven't found a good Italian restaurant around here in 23 years. I got to go to Federal Hill, Rhode Island for that, or go to north side of Boston.
Oof. The Northeasterner lives in him still.
Yeah.
Have you, I like the spaghetti and meatballs. Now, I had the lasagna, I don't like it, but the spaghetti and meatballs at V. Paul's, I like.
Haven't been there yet.
It was very good.
Yeah.
Have you been to Benelli's?
Nope. A lot of them I haven't been to.
Over on
so
9th Avenue.
I
You
probably
might have
know
to
it.
check that out.
Yep.
I've eaten there and everything was
Benelli's.
excellent.
I'll
But
have
now,
to try
you know
it.
what, I don't know what you're used to up there in Boston.
Well,
know.
spaghetti, meatballs, lasagna, man, that's for a frog like me, but I was raised by Portuguese. So my dad died when I was, before I was 5, and my mother remarried when I was about 9 or 10, and she married a guy who was, basically he was born here. He got here about 2 months shy of being, born in Portugal.
Right?
And, I come from a big Portuguese area, so, I was brought up on Portuguese food. Never cared for any of that foo-foo French crap, the stuff that crawled around and looked back at you. I never cared for that stuff.
That's funny. The live stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What's coming up for you next for the Marine Corps League or?
Well, I'll tell you, I got a list here.
Get into it.
There's there's an awful lot of stuff. Well, you said the 5K.
Yep.
And we even have a impromptu organization. It's
Go ahead.
we get together once a month at the yacht club, Pensacola Yacht Club. A couple of the guys are actually yacht club members, but it was just a good place to start meeting there. They started about 26 years ago, and I got here about 3 years after they had started and all, and I just stayed with them. And they do a lot of stuff supporting. Just about everything is a support element, and all the individuals within that group, if we need something, they're helping. There'll always be somebody help with a 5K. If we're organizing a golf tournament to raise money for a hero, to get these guys out playing golf. I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Dave Riley from Mobile.
I'm not.
He was one of the first trained Coast Guard rescue swimmers. He'd done some time in the Army before that, but they made a movie about those rescue swimmers.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Yep. Well, Dave got in some bad water and got one of those flesh-eating bacteria. He lost both arms and both legs.
Wow.
He walks around. He's got 4 of the old-style prosthetics, and he does more with his 4 old-style, hook-style prosthetics than most guys do with 4 good, good limbs. And he plays golf. He goes fishing on the A Hero fishing trips. like I say, we're a bunch of facilitators. It's
Is it the A Hero group that gets together at the yacht club?
well, a bunch of us do. We're
Is that the A Hero? Is that what?
well, the yacht club Marines are just all Marines from all walks of life, all ages. We all get together just to have a luncheon and enjoy each other's camaraderie and find out what's going on, who needs help, who needs what. Same with the Marine Corps League. This thing we do called Heroes Among Us.
Yes, Thursday nights, third Thursday or something. One
Well,
Thursday a month.
The last Thursday of the month.
Last Thursday of the month.
Yeah, and yeah, that all came about because it's funny, but it goes back to Caveman. Caveman's son was training up to be a karate guy. He was training to be able to compete,
Right.
and his coach, karate coach, a former Marine, he was a Somalia vet. Ironically, wounded twice, didn't get a Purple Heart because Clinton said Somalia was a humanitarian effort. And it's ironic.
It looked like a humanitarian effort on Black Hawk Down.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of funny because I looked into seeing if I could get him his Purple Hearts, and I had a Navy corpsman that I travel with, and ironically, he was on the same Somalia trip, on the boat as the corpsman, and he says, "I remember that guy." I says, "Well, how come you didn't put him in for his Purple Heart?" He said, "It wouldn't done any good. It was humanitarian. We were just treating the Marines, So, anyways, I says, "Well, can we get this kid his Purple Heart? Go back and file some paperwork or something with the Navy Board of Appeals." And it was funny. I said, "But how the hell would you know? I mean, of all the 20-some odd years you were in, all the guys you treated, how would you know this one guy?" He says, "It was easy. He was the only one shot in the ass." So, okay. Well, anyway, he was a karate coach, and he was training up Caveman's boy, and he came home. I guess it was 2 weeks before Christmas, a lot of years back now, and he said, "Dad, you ain't gonna believe what happened to Coach. He got hit head on by a drunk driver, damn near killed him. They cut him out of the car. He was dead twice. They were going to take his leg off, get him out of the car, and he wasn't hearing it. And by the way, he's back coaching karate and everything. They said it would never happen. You would not believe what they did to this kid. They took him to the hospital. He was in there in an induced coma for a while. His insurance ran out. They put him in a wheelchair, rolled him up to the door, and said, 'You're okay now.' Sent him home with no proper dressings, no medications.
Is this at a VA hospital?
New local. I won't mention it, but it was a local hospital. They caught hell for it. But anyways, he called his buddy, shared a house with. The guy came and got him. They put a board on the wheelchair and the seat and slid him up the board, get him into the seat, strap him in, took him home, put him on a couch. He couldn't get up to go to the bathroom. Nothing. He laid there for 2 days. Didn't know until Caveman's son came home and told Caveman about it. Caveman went high and to the right. He says, "What is this shit all about?" So he made some phone calls. Ed Rouse, myself, a few others. Went over to the young Marine's house and, found him there languishing in his own mess on a couch because his buddy couldn't lift him, couldn't raise him. Guy had pins sticking out of every one of his toes where they put the pins in to hold his bones together. And that was it. Caveman started making phone calls. Ed Rouse made phone calls. Next thing you know, we had home care coming in for him. Took good care of him, And I think we spent about $17,000 getting this kid back on his feet and helping him out. And we decided this is what we really should be doing because we have a thing. It's called, Marines in Distress or Veterans in Distress. It's where we come together and we have a fund. Well, we'd never had that fund. So we started raising the money, took care of this young guy, and we said, all right, we got to find a way to keep this going. So that's when Ed and the guys come up with the idea, well, let's do this speakers theory because you don't know who these heroes are that walk amongst us. You got some guy some old guy that just shuffling around town and You sit down and talk with them, and you found out, oh yeah, I was there. I did the doom. You know, we got to preserve these guys' legacy. What better way than to incorporate this with a fundraising program? And that's how we do it. We've got a thing called the Centurion program right now that we're doing. And what it's going to be is we're putting together a fraternal order of centurions. These are people that ante up one time $1,000, and we're going to have a minimum of 100. We're going to have a $100,000 fund that we're going to put together. It's going to be perpetuating, and all it can be used for is veterans in distress, and they have to be thoroughly vetted. But
Which you do. I've heard about the situations that arise. Some of them when I met Colonel Holsworth. I met him at the Village Inn for breakfast 4 years ago, I want to say.
him, you or him?
Oh, it was us. We bought.
Just kidding.
We bought. That's when, when I first, I mean, right away you realize he's full of energy and passionate about the run and everything.
Full on all the time,
Yeah.
24/7.
So, yeah, he's incredible. But that's amazing.
Yeah, it's that's the difference. You lead from the front, you follow, or you know what I mean. Lead,
Yep.
follow, get the hell out of the way. And if you got caveman in the mix, you get the hell out of the way, and just ask him what you can do.
Fall in.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're right up at with Patriot TV. We've got an hour and a half segment. We're right up against it. Anything else you want to get in?
Well, just anytime you want to, donate to a good cause, veterans, kids, whatever, there's always something out there you can get into. And there's just list of them. It's just got to follow your heart, whatever trips you switch. I'm a dog lover too, so every time I get an email or something about somebody's dog is sick, and they're going to have to put it down. Hey, what the hell? If I can afford it, I throw them a check.
Awesome.
It's whatever trips, and kids, veterans, and dogs. That's
Right. Well, listen. Yeah. If anything, if you want to contribute and you're listening out there, message us or get a hold of the Marine Corps League or let me know if you know me or whatever, and we'll get you in touch with the right people where your money's going to go. It's not going to be split up 100 ways before a little bit of it gets to somebody that needs it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you being here tonight.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to get some of this stuff out to people.
We'll figure out revisiting this again, and you can get some more out there.
Yeah.
But I want to thank Tell Staffing and HR for any of you listening out there. Give them a call if you've got a company and you need a good payroll company. You need human resources, payroll, staffing, a good conservative-based company. Patriotic company, give them a call. And also Rev Essentials, if you're out there and you're looking to just get fitter and you don't want anything fluffy or fancy and you want coaches that practice what they preach, go to Rev Essentials. Is it revessentials.org?
Oh, I can't remember.
I think it's scrolling across the screen.
It came up a second ago. Yeah.
So it's scrolling across the screen, so we'll go back and look at it. I apologize.
.net.
.net, revessentials.net. So go check them out. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thank you, PatriotTV.live. Looking forward to this relationship. Go to PatriotTV.live and check out the other shows that are on there. There's some great shows on there that you need to check out. And we will see you at 7 p.m. Central Time next Thursday evening. Have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day.
Celebrate it right
Absolutely.
with a fifth.